Hi, I'm Michaela. I'm a knitter, a wife, and a mom from British Columbia, Canada, and this is Galanthus Knits. Hello, welcome. This is my first knitting podcast, and hello. I'm very excited and nervous to be filming my very first video, and I hope that I get used to it soon. So anyway, here we go. I just have to dive in because I've wanted to be part of this knitting community online for a very long time. So I'm just going to be brave and put myself out there a bit, and here we go. So, yes, the introduction. I'm Michaela. I am from British Columbia, Canada. I am 27 years old, and I have a husband and a daughter who is 7 months. I have been a knitter since I was a child, but not a serious knitter until 2020. One of my friends who I met when I was living in the UK, she's from Norway originally, but we met when we were both in the UK, taught me how to read knitting patterns and to just advance my skills, and from there it just launched me into the universe of knitting. And so I've been seriously knitting since 2020, although I've done knit and purl, washcloths, blankets, and scarves for years, since I was like 8. So yeah, so I'm here to share what I've done, to gain knowledge from other knitting podcasters who I watch. Some of my favorite ones are Marlene from Marlene Knits. She's my absolute favorite. I love watching Bethany from Well Loved Knits and the We Grow Wild podcast. I love that one. I watch Kutavakika. Let's see. Hannah G Knits. I watch her podcast. There's a lot that I watch. I don't always catch up on every single one because I'm a busy mom, but I try my best. So yeah, I wanted to put myself out here. I got inspiration for this from one of Marlene's old videos from last summer when she went to the Flock Fiber Festival, which is down in Seattle, not too far from me because I'm just over the border up in British Columbia. So I think I'm going to try to go this year. But I remember her saying in one of those podcasts that you just have to put yourself out there, like to get into the knitting community, to meet other knitters online, to be friends, and to meet up, because she had met up with Chelsea. And I'm going to do that. It gave me the boost of motivation that I needed to go and to do this. So here I am starting. So I thought I would just talk a little bit about some of my favorite knitting things that I've done in recently, the past couple years. Some of them are more recent than others, but I'll start off with what I'm wearing. This is the Arboreal sweater by Jennifer Steingass. I'm not sure how to say her surname. And I've knitted it with Drops Soft Tweed in the colors Grizzly Bear and Cookie Dough. So I love this sweater. I actually had, when she first came out with this pattern in 2017, I saved it. I bought it and I saved it because I told myself someday I'm going to learn how to read knitting patterns and I'm going to make this sweater. So I'm quite proud. It was my first colorwork sweater, even though the colors are quite muted. And the reasons I chose the browns is because when I first moved to the UK, I was quite disappointed with the autumn colors in comparison to what I'm used to in Canada. They're very muted. Here they're quite colorful, they're quite vibrant most of the time, most years. And in where I was in North Wales and North England, there wasn't vibrant colors like that I was used to in Canada, and I missed that a lot. But over the years, I really learned to appreciate those duller tones. And since this was my first colorwork sweater and I made it while I was living in the UK, I wanted it to be kind of representative of that time. I really love it. It really reminds me of the beautiful soft tones that autumn and winter give in the UK, and I really miss it actually. So yeah, this is my Arboreal sweater, and I did make it a bit cropped. My chair is really squeaky, so I'm not gonna get up too many times, but I did make it a bit cropped so I could wear it over dresses because I'm a dress girl through and through. I always wear dresses and skirts if I can get away with it. So yeah, I made it cropped for that reason. Okay, so a few others that I have made that I'm really happy with. Let's see. This one was a few years ago. I'll just put it on for you. This is the Hiedra mitten by Fibertails. Ooh, let's see. There we go. Fibertails. That's another podcast that I watch a lot, actually. And you can fold down this top part for extra warmth, but I usually wear it folded back. I love this motif, and the only thing about it that I am less happy about is just this part here, whoop, this line here. At the end, once you reach up to the ribbing here, you're meant to turn it into a braid. And when I was making it, I was in the car. I was a passenger in the car. And I got to that point and I was just like, whatever, I'm just going to keep going because I'm not going to try to fiddle around and figure out how to do the braid. And I regret that I didn't do it. So, but I'm not going to rip back. I'm fine with it. It's fine. But if I were to make them again, I would do the braid. So yeah, that was the only thing. And this was made in, I think it was Yorkshire Spinners yarn. Not totally sure. It was one that I got at a local shop in the city I was living in. Anyhow, I really like them. I do have two. So yeah, beautiful kind of rusty color. This is another kind of muted British autumn color. You do get this kind of color in like beech leaves in November where I was. So yeah, just really inspired by the local landscape, and yeah, beautiful. I love them. So this is my most recent finish. This is scarf number 4 by my Favorite Things Knitwear. It has this beautiful ribbing mixed with garter and such simple stitches, but together I just really like the pattern that it gave. It's a very small scarf. I'm not going to put it on right now because it will definitely interfere with the microphone that I have here. But yeah, it just wraps around once and then ties in the front. So it's a very small scarf, it's very in right now in the knitting community, I would say. So, and I knitted this with, let me see, hold on, I have the label. Okay, I knitted this with Amano Mayu. Oh, let's go. There we are. Nice, okay. So it is 60% royal alpaca, 20% cashmere, and 20% silk, made in Peru. So this yarn is expensive, and it's only, it's only 100 meters. It's 50 grams, 100 meters. And I got it on a wicked sale. So I walked into my local yarn shop one day looking for something completely different, and they were having a massive sale on this yarn, and there was only 2 skeins left. And it was like, I want to say it was like 60 or 70% off. Unbelievable. So I normally would not purchase such beautiful, luxurious, expensive yarn, but because it was on sale, I bought the 2 skeins, and it just made this scarf. The rest of it is sitting right here in this mini hank that I made up. Just precious few bits left. It is so incredibly soft and squishy, perfect for a scarf, perfect for around my neck, because I do have a little bit of a sensitive chest and neck area. I love it. I really, really love it. I took it skiing with me a couple days ago, and it was just perfect little thing to wrap around underneath my coat. So yeah, that was my most recent finish. And another thing that I made recently, okay, 2 things that go together. One is can you see? Chunky Dahlia V-neck cardigan. Woo! I made this sweater in 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks, which is the fastest I've ever knit an adult-sized garment. Yes, so I'm really happy with how it turned out. I knitted this with Drops Big Merino in the colorway Greige. I think that colorway may be discontinued now. I'm not sure. I bought this yarn for a different sweater a few years ago, and I knitted up that sweater, and I did not like the way that it sit on me. I can't remember the name of the pattern it was. I think it was called the Birch Blouse. I can't remember the designer, but I recently went on to see if she still, like, other people's reviews on Ravelry for that sweater, because it just did not fit well. And I think she's actually taken the pattern down. So I assume that's because it didn't really work out with a lot of different people. I don't know actually, but it's not there anymore. But I ripped that sweater up and reclaimed the yarn so that I could make this cardigan, which I love. The only thing is, when you buy yarn online, you can only really guess what the color is actually going to be like. And I thought this was going to be a lighter shade than it actually turned out to be. So that was the only thing. It's a bit darker than the kind of grayish color that I was going for. As you can see, the buttons I used for it are quite a bit lighter, which is fine, but I would have preferred a lighter shade of this grayy color. So anyways, this goes with a little one for my daughter. So she's 7 months old, and this sweater is a little bit big for her. But I made it for her for Christmas, and she can wear it, when she grows into it. That's fine. I don't mind. And she's worn it a couple times already, even though it's pretty massive on her. But it's cute. It's babies in massive sweaters are really cute. So yes, here we are. I will say the only thing I find, I don't know if it's with my gauge or if it's just baby sweaters in general. I've knitted a lot of baby sweaters, but I find that they are quite wide and not very long. So when I put this on her now, it's kind of long enough, but way too wide. So what I might do is extend the ribbing on the bottom and then add, there we go. And then extend it enough to add an extra button hole and button on the bottom. And then it will actually fit her when she's a toddler, because it's massively wide right now, and I don't think she's ever going to grow wide enough to fit it before it becomes really cropped. So yeah, I might do that. But anyhow, it matches. We've worn it together before. I can't really hold them up properly together, but yeah, there we go. I love it. I love it so much. And I did this one also in Drops Big Merino in one of their pink shades. I'm not sure which one. But I really like how wide the neck is as well, because that's one of the things I found about baby sweaters. Making them, unless they've got buttons, which this one does, so it doesn't really matter, but babies' heads are huge compared to their bodies, so you really need a big hole. A few sweaters that I've made, I've had to really stretch out the neck to just get it over her head, and she really hates putting them on because it's quite tight going on, so I don't like to put her in them, but I can talk about that in a different video. Anyhow, love it so much. Can't wait for her to wear it, to waddle around and wear it. Yeah, a couple more things I would like to chat about in this episode is that I am working on my very first test knit. I am testing the Baranduin sock for Fox and Folk. Hold on a second. Ooh. So there's the motif. It's a cable sock. I've just done the heel flap and gusset, and now I'm working on the foot. This is Senesgarn Sisu, their sock yarn, in color light moss, I think, which I also think is discontinued. I haven't found it on their website, but I was able to find it in my local shop, and they have a lot of skeins left. So I love this color. Yeah, Fox and Folk. I think her name is Nora. She designed this pattern based on the Brandywine River in The Lord of the Rings, and I thought this was a very Hobbit-esque type color. So I am loving the way that it's working up. And yeah, I have about a month left to finish this sock and then the second sock before the testing period is over. So I'm really, really happy with this. And I love Fox and Folk's patterns. I have made a few of her patterns before, and one of which is a little bit special to my heart, which I will talk about in a different video. So that is one of the things that I want to say. The other is that I am in a knit-along, which is about to start in a few days. It starts March 1st. Today is February 26th, 2024. And the knit-along is with Marlene and Julia. Oh, what's her last name? Marquez, I want to say. Julie Marquez. Yes, I was following Marlene already and she mentioned it, and then she was doing it with Julie, and I wasn't following her yet, but now I am. So they're doing a knit along for the Cumulus blouse, and I think there's 2 months for the knit along, and I have wanted to do the Cumulus blouse for a while, but I'm not really a mohair gal, so I decided to do it in something different and something way less, way more affordable for me, and I'm doing it in Drops Air, and this is the color, ooh, there we go. This is the color Wheat. I've knitted with this colorway before and I really love it. It's just a beautiful, soft, like, I don't know, it's a weedy color. Like, it's kind of got pink tones in it, but it's definitely still like a beige, but like a pinky beige. And I think this will go really well with a lot of things I have in my wardrobe over top of dresses or skirts or what have you. If you can hear that scratching noise, that's my cat on her scratch post, and her scratch post is sitting next to me, so I don't know if I chose a very good place to be filming this video, but I might move around the house in different videos. So anyhow, those are the two things. The last thing I wanted to talk about is just why I've called this podcast Galanthus Knits. Galanthus is the scientific name for snowdrop, and snowdrop has always been my favorite flower. I love how delicate they are. I love how unassuming they are. I love that even in cold snaps and even snow, they can bounce back. They've got antifreeze proteins. They're just such a resilient, humble little flower, and they are the first sign of spring, especially here in Canada, where our winters in British Columbia are not as severe, or at least in the area of British Columbia that I live, are not as severe as in other areas of Canada. But we do get some crazy weather. It's sunny right now, but this morning it was snowing. So it's, yeah, and lots of windstorms and things. So it's an uneasy kind of time, winter, as is summer in this province, actually. But anyhow, snowdrops are kind of that little announcement of the end of that troubled time and something a bit more calm and reliable. And I love that. I love that about them. I've always loved them. I've always just, I don't know, they make my heart sing. So I've decided to call this podcast Galanthus Knits after the humble little snowdrop. And it is fitting because this is my first episode. We're in February, at the end of February, and I've got snowdrops in my garden right now. So yes, this marks the beginning of this season for me, and yeah, I'm very happy with it, and I hope you'll follow me along. This is the end of the first episode, but thank you so much for joining, and I think my goal is going to be to get a video out at least once a month. It seems like a realistic goal for me, and yeah, thank you for watching, and chat to you soon.